You guys got my list, right? First up is Comedy of Errors.
Yep.
On Jeremy? All right, cool.
Okay.
Hi, are you sure we're out live? It says recording, but it doesn't say Facebook.
Preparing.
I don't think
Here it is. It's up now.
we're here?
Yep.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Sorry. Welcome to Living Room Shakespeare. We're so happy to have you. Tonight we are doing scenes and monologues, so you will see a large host of people. We are a group of actors from around the world and around the country. Some of us have worked together. Some of us have met for the first time tonight. None of us have practiced together. And so this should be really exciting and fun to see what we all bring to the table. So without further ado, we are going to start with our first scene. This is Comedy of Errors, Act 3, Scene 2. In the role of Dromio, we have John, and in the role of Antipholus, we have Jeremy. Gentlemen?
Why, how now, Dromio? Why runs thou so fast?
Do you know me, sir? Am I Dromio? Am I your man? Am I myself?
Thou art Dromio, thou art my man, thou art thyself.
I am an ass. Oh, I am a woman's man, and besides myself.
What woman's man? And how besides thyself?
Marry, sir, besides myself, I am due to a woman, one that claims me, one that haunts me, one that will have me.
What claim lay she to thee?
Oh, marry, sir, such claim as you would lay to your horse, and she would have me as a beast. Not that I being a beast she would have me, but that she being a very beastly character lays claim to me.
What is she?
A very reverent body. I, such as one as a man may not speak of without he say, Sir, reverence. I have but lean luck in the match, and yet she is a wondrous fat marriage.
How dost thou mean a fat marriage?
Marry, sir, she's the kitchen wench, and all grease. And I know not what used to put her to, but to make a lamp of her, and run from her by her own light. I warrant her rags and the tallow in them will burn a Poland winter. If she lives till doomsday, she'll burn a week longer than the whole world.
What complexion is she of?
Swart, like my shoe. But her face nothing half so clean kept. For why? She sweats. A man may go over shoes in the grime of it.
That's a fault that water will mend.
Oh, no, sir. 'Tis in grain. Noah's flood could not do it.
What is her name?
No, sir. But her name and 3/4, that's an L and 3/4, will not measure her from hip to hip.
Then she bears some breadth.
No longer from head to foot, then from hip to hip, she is spherical. She is a globe. I could find out countries in her.
In what part of her body stands Ireland?
Mary, in her buttocks. I found it out by the bogs.
And where's Scotland?
Oh, I found it by the Baroness, hard in the palm of her hand.
Where is France?
Oh, in the forehead. Oh, armed and reverent, making war against her.
Sorry, guys. I'm so sorry to interrupt. We lost the
It didn't
feed.
do right.
We started the feed
Yep.
and then it got lost.
Okay, I figured.
I'm so sorry. I want everybody to be able to see you. So that was a really great warm up. And I pressed it in your intro anyway, John. So I apologize deeply. Oh, and that was a stink bug. So we're gonna do it again. Sorry, everybody. Sorry, guys. Good start. Good start.
It's beautiful. I'm so sorry, guys.
It was really good.
It
And
was the roll of the
All
leg.
right, we're professionals. We can get it back.
yes, absolutely.
This is me constantly saying, it never works the first time. That time it acted like it worked, which was dumb.
Well, I had a feeling because I didn't say Facebook.
I know, but it came up, everything else was indicating that it was working. And then when I finally got it shared out, it was like 8 seconds long.
Yeah, that's what I saw. Sorry.
Yeah, Christine, what it looked like was you going, yeah, we're good.
Yes. Just me saying that. And then when Tamara went to start
Because
talking,
that was the
it
freeze.
gone.
That's funny though. It's like, oh yeah, we're ready. Just kidding.
Nope.
Are we good? Nope.
No, we're not good.
While you're waiting, tell your friends.
Now it says
Hey,
recording.
I'm about to be live on Facebook.
I know. Right now, I put up the "We're Live" post, and yeah, we're not.
All right, so Jeremy, how do you want to do the read this time?
I have some notes for you. You
Should
were
we
a
do it
little,
as a-
little sloppy, a little sloppy.
Let's do it as a tragedy, or as the Three Stooges, whichever you want to go.
I vote for the Three Stooges.
Yeah, let's get weird with it. Let's get like real weird.
I want to hear some like craziness going on right now.
I say the hardest part about this is tagging everybody. It takes me a million years.
All good. Need a few minutes, fine.
Oh, I hate
You know,
it.
I'm not performing. I probably should have put on makeup. Jesus.
I hate being late. The stage manager and me just cringes.
Christine, not as much as I cringed during the Fantastics.
I already did that one.
Just keep thinking about it. I know it's bothering you right now.
So how's everybody's week?
Camera, question: are you going to do the little synopsis before you?
Yes, I am. I was sad that this happened, but I was like, well, at least I get to actually do the synopsis this time. Sorry about that, John.
That's all right.
And I am getting more monologues coming in. So,
Well, then see, it was a good thing.
yeah. Well, I can get them throughout the reads.
I know. I'm making up reasons for it to be okay.
Well, it is.
I know, the whole thing fell off the internet, Kevin. Kevin just walked back and is like, what happened? I put the kid to bed and now everything's broken.
You weren't here, Kevin.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Your fault, Kevin.
It fell apart.
It's all
Could've been
Kevin's
sitting
fault.
next to the tech guru. That makes sense.
Our pets' heads are falling off.
That's me. 400 names tonight.
I know.
Yeah, would you just stop being, so many good, talented people? That's not fair.
Makes my life difficult, guys.
True.
Okay, I think we're ready to try again. Are you ready to try again? Everybody out in Zoom land?
Yeah, Chris, we just see your headshot, which is fine, but I wanted to make sure you knew it. But that's fine. I'll text you. Okay.
Everybody good? I'm going to push the button again. Okay, here I go.
Hello, everyone on Facebook. Welcome to Living Room Shakespeare. In case you were waiting at 8 on the dot to see us, we are sorry. We had a little bit of a technical difficulty, but we are here. You've got a large group of wonderfully talented people who are going to be doing scenes and monologues for you tonight. We are a group of actors from around the world and the country, which obviously for around the world, we might be around the country too, who have not rehearsed together, who are not memorized, but have each been given a part and are ready to do scenes for you. I'm going to be the lucky person who gets to introduce all these wonderful people to you and introduce these scenes. So without further ado, let's get to the good stuff. Our first scene tonight is from The Comedy of Errors, Act 3, Scene 2. In this scene, we have John as Dromio and Jeremy as Antipholus, and a brief little snippet that they have prepared to introduce this scene for those of you who don't know the play. At the top of the scene, Dromio runs in after being chased by a woman, Nell, claiming to be his fiancée. Dromio, played by John, and Antipholus, played by Jeremy, discuss especially Dromio, what a low bar this woman sets for him as his potential fiancée. Much of the scene is spent comparing Nell's body parts to different countries, so it's kind of fitting that we have actors from different countries. But without further ado, gentlemen, take the stage.
Why, how now, Dromio? Where runs thou so fast?
Do you know me, sir? Am I Dromio? Am I your man? Am I myself?
Thou art Dromio. Thou art my man. Thou art thyself.
I am an ass. I am a woman's man besides myself.
What woman's man, and how besides thyself?
Oh, marry, sir, besides myself, I am due to a woman, one that claims me, one that haunts me, one that will have me.
What claim lay thee to she?
Marry, sir, such claim as you would lay to your horse, and she would have me as a beast. Not that I, being a beast, she would have me, but that she, being a very beastly woman, creature, lays claim to me.
What is she?
Oh, a very reverent body, sir. Aye, such a one as a man may not speak of without saying, Sir, reverence. I have but lean luck in the match, and yet is she a wondrous fat marriage.
How dost thou mean a fat marriage?
Marry, sir, she's the kitchen wench, and all grease. And I know not what use to put her to, but to make a lamp of her, and run from her by her own light. I warrant her rags and the tallow in them will burn a Poland winter. If she lives till doomsday, she'll burn a week longer than the whole world.
What complexion is she of?
Swart, like my shoe. But her face, nothing half so clean kept. For why? She sweats. A man may go over shoes in the grime of it.
Ooh, well, that's a fault that water will mend.
Oh, no, sir, 'tis in the grain. Noah's flood could not do it.
What's her name?
Nell, sir, but her name in 3/4, that's an L, and 3/4 will not measure her from hip to hip.
Ah, then she bared some breadth.
No longer from head to foot, then from hip to hip. She is spherical. She's like a globe. I could find out countries in her.
In what part of her body stands Ireland?
Oh, Mary, in the buttocks. I found it out by the bogs.
Where's Scotland?
Oh, I found it by the Baroness, hard in the palm of her hand.
Where is France?
In her forehead, armed and reverent, making war against her heir.
Where is England?
And I looked for the chalky cliffs, but I could find no whiteness in them. But I guess it stood in her chin, by the salt room that ran between France and it.
And where's Spain?
Oh, faith, I saw it not, but I felt it hot in the breath.
Where America? The Indies?
Oh, sir, upon her nose, all air embellished with rubies and carbuncles and sapphires, declining their rich aspect to the hot breath of Spain, who sent whole armados of carracks to be ballast at her nose.
Where stood Belgium? The Netherlands?
Oh, sir, I did not look so low. To conclude, this drudge or diviner laid claim to me, called me Dromio, swore I was assured to her, told me what privy marks I had about me, as the mark on my shoulder, and the great wart on my left arm, and the mole in my neck, that I am amazed ran from her as a witch, and I think if my breast had not been made of faith and my heart of steel, she'd have transformed me to a curdled dog and made me turn the wheel.
Go hide thee presently, post to the road. And if the wind blow any way from shore, I will not harbor in this town tonight. If any bark put forth, come to the march, or I will walk till thou return to me. If everyone knows us, and we know none, 'tis time, I think, to trudge, pack, and be gone.
As from a bear, a man would run for life. So fly I from her that would be my wife.
Well, there's none but witches that do inhabit here, and therefore 'tis high time that I were hence. So she that doth call me husband, even my soul doth for a wife abhor. But her fair sister, possessed with such gentle, sovereign grace, of such enchanting presence and discourse, hath almost made me traitor to myself. But, lest myself be guilty to self-wrong, I'll stop mine ears against the mermaid song.
Bravo, gentlemen. That was lovely. I enjoyed that very much. Next up, we are jumping into the tragedy of Othello, Act 3, Scene 3. In the scene, we have Iago played by Sam and Othello played by Vera. Here's a little synopsis they gave you. Iago has just suggested to Othello that his wife may be unfaithful. Sam, Vera?
Yes, yeah, all set?
All set.
I have use for it. Go. Leave me. I will in Cassio's lodging lose this napkin and let him find it. Trifles light as air are to the jealous confirmation strong as proofs of holy writ. This may do something. The Moor already changes with my poison. Dangerous conceits are, in their nature, as poisons, which at the first are scarce found to distaste, but with a little act upon the blood. Burn like the mines of sulfur, I did say so. Look where he comes. Not poppy, nor mandragora, nor all the drowsy syrups of the world shall ever medicine thee to that sweet sleep which thou owedst yesterday.
Ha! False to me.
Why, how now, General? No more of that.
Avaunt, begone. Thou hast set me on the rack. I swear 'tis better to be much abused than but to know it a little.
How now, my lord?
What sense had I of her stolen hours of lust? I saw it not, thought it not, it harmed not me. I slept the next night well, was free and merry. I found not Cassio's kisses on her lips. He that is robbed not wanting what is stolen, let him not know it, and he is not robbed at all.
I am sorry to hear this.
I had been happy if the general camp, pioneers and all, had tasted her sweet body, so I had nothing known. Oh, now forever, farewell the tranquil mind, farewell content, farewell the plumed troop and the big wars that make ambition virtue. Oh, farewell, farewell the neighing steed and the shrill trump, the spirit-stirring drum, the ear-piercing fife, the royal banner and all quality, pride, pomp, and circumstance of glorious war. And oh, immortal engines whose rude throats the immortal Jove's dead clamors counterfeit, farewell, Othello's occupation's gone.
Is it possible, my lord?
Villain, be sure thou prove my love a whore. Be sure of it. Give me the ocular proof. Or by the worth of man's eternal soul, thou hast been better have been born a dog than answer my naked wrath.
Has it come to this?
Make me to see it, or at the least so prove it, that the probation bear no hinge nor loop to hang a doubt on, or woe upon thy life.
My noble lord.
If thou dost slander her and torture me, never pray more, abandon all remorse. On horror's head horrors accumulate, do deeds to make heaven weep, all earth amazed. For nothing canst thou to damnation add greater than that.
Oh, grace, oh heaven, forgive me. Are you a man? Have you a soul or sense? God be with you. To take mine office, O wretched fool, that invest to make thine honesty a vice. O monstrous world, take note, O world, to be direct and honest is not safe. I thank you for this profit, and from hence I'll love no friend, sith love breeds such offense.
Nay, stay. Thou should be honest.
I should be wise, for honesty's a fool, and loses that it works for.
By the world, I think my wife be honest and think she is not. I think that thou art just and think thou art not. I'll have some proof. Her name that was as fresh as Dian's visage is now begrimed and black as mine own face. If there be cords or knives, poison or fire or suffocating streams, I'll not endure it. Would I were satisfied.
I see, sir. You are eaten up with passion. I do repent me that I put it to you. You would be satisfied?
Would? Nay, I will.
And may, but how? How satisfied, my lord? Would you, the supervisor, grossly gape on, behold her topped?
Death and damnation! Oh!
It were tedious difficulty, I think, to bring them to that prospect. Damn them then, if ever mortal eyes do see them bolster more than their own. What then? How then? Well, what shall I say? Where's satisfaction? It is impossible you should see this. Were they as prime as goats, as hot as monkeys, as salt as wolves in pride, and fools as gross as ignorance made drunk? But yet I say, if imputation and strong circumstances, which lead directly to the door of truth, will give you satisfaction, you may have it.
Give me a living reason she's disloyal.
Oh, I do not like the office, but sith I am entered in this cause so far, pricked to it by foolish honesty and love, I will go on. I lay with Cassio lately, and being troubled with a raging tooth, I could not sleep. There are a kind of men so loose of soul that in their sleeps will mutter their affairs. One of this kind is Cassio. In sleep I heard him say, "Oh, sweet Desdemona, let us be wary, let us hide our loves." And then, sir, would he gripe and wring my hand and cry, "Oh, sweet creature," and then kiss me hard, as if he plucked up kisses by the roots that grew upon my lips, and laid his leg over my thigh and sighed and kissed and then cried, "Cursed fate that gave thee to the Moor."
Oh, monstrous, monstrous!
Nay, this was but his dream.
But this denoted a foregone conclusion. 'Tis a shrewd doubt, though it be but a dream.
And this may help to thicken other proofs that do demonstrate thinly.
I'll tear her all to pieces.
Nay, but be wise. Yet we see nothing done. She may be honest yet. Tell me but this. Have you not sometimes seen a handkerchief spotted with strawberries in your wife's hand?
I gave her such a one. 'Twas my first gift.
I know not that, but such a handkerchief, I am sure it was your wife's. Did I today see Cassio wipe his beard with?
If it be that,
If it be that, or any that was hers, it speaks against her with the other proofs.
oh, that the slave had 40,000 lives. One is too poor, too weak for my revenge. Now I do see 'tis true. Look here, Iago, all my fond love thus do I blow to heaven. 'Tis gone. Arise, black vengeance, from thy hollow cell. Yield up, O love, thy crown and hearted tongue to tyrannous hate. Swell bosom with thy fraught, for 'tis of aspects tongues.
Patience. I say your mind perhaps may change.
Never, Iago. Like to the Pontic sea, whose icy current and compulsive course ne'er feels retiring ebb, but keeps due on to the Propontic and the Hellespont, even so my bloody thoughts with violent pace shall ne'er look back, ne'er ebb to humble love, till that a capable and wide revenge swallow them up. Now, by yond marble heaven, in the due reverence of a sacred vow, I here engage my words.
We kneel. Do not rise yet. Witness you ever burning lights above. You elements that clip us round about, witness that here Iago doth give up the execution of his wit, hands, heart, to wronged Othello's service. Let him command, and to obey shall be in me remorse. What bloody business ever.
I greet thy love. Of his vain thanks, will come instant to be to it. Within these 3 days, let me hear thee say that Cassio's not alive.
My friend is dead. 'Tis done at your request. But let her live.
Damn her, lewd minx! Oh, damn her! Come, go with me apart. I will withdraw to furnish me with some swift means of death. for the fair devil. Now art thou my lieutenant.
I am your own forever.
Bravo, guys. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Great
And
fun.
it was fun. It was fun to watch. And I do apologize for that little sound thing.
That was my fault.
No. It's the joy of technology and us trying to
Oh.
navigate figuring out how to do it.
Oh, okay.
So we are moving on now. Let's get a little bit lighthearted. We are going on to Two Gentlemen of Verona, Act 1, Scene 2. In this scene, we have in the role of Julia, Michelle, and in the role of Lucetta, Wendy. Julia asked her maid Lucetta for advice about love, and Lucetta gives her a letter from a potential suitor. Voila. Ladies, the stage is yours.
Let's say, Lucetta, now we are alone. Wouldst thou counsel me to fall in love?
Aye, madam, so you stumble not unheedfully.
Of all the fair gentlemen that every day with parle encounter me, in thy opinion, which is the worthiest love?
Please you repeat their names. I'll show my mind according to my shallow, simple skill.
What thinkest thou of the fair Sir Eglamour?
As of a knight, well spoken, neat and fine, but were I you, he never should be mine.
What thinkest thou of the rich Mercatio?
Well of his wealth, but of himself, so-so.
What thinkest thou of the gentle Proteus?
Lord, Lord, to see what folly reigns in us.
How now? What means this passion at his name?
Pardon, dear madam. 'Tis a passing shame that I, unworthy body as I am, should censure thus on lovely gentlemen.
Why not on Proteus, as of all the rest?
Then thus, of many good, I think him best.
Your reason?
I have no other but a woman's reason. I think him so because I think him so.
And wouldst thou have me cast my love on him?
Aye, if you thought your love not cast away.
Why, he, of all the rest, hath never moved me.
Yet he of all the rest I think best loves ye.
His little speaking shows his love but small.
Fire that's closest kept burns most of all.
They do not love that do not show their love.
Oh, they love least that let men know their love.
I would I knew his mind.
Peruse this paper, madam.
To Julia? Say, from whom?
That the contents will show.
Say, who giveth thee?
Valentine's page, and sent, I think, from Proteus. He would have given it you, but I, being in the way, did in your name receive it. Pardon the fault, I pray.
Now, by my modesty, a goodly broker, dare you presume to harbor wanton lines, to whisper and conspire against my youth? Now, trust me, 'tis an office of great worth, and you, an officer fit for the place, or else return no more to my sight.
To plead for love deserves more fee than hate.
Will ye be gone?
That you may ruminate.
And yet, I would I had o'erlooked the letter. It were a shame to call her back again, and pray her to a fault for which I chid her. What a fool is she, that knows I am a maid, and would not force the letter to my view, since maids and modesty say no to that which they would have the proper construe. Aye. Fie, how wayward is this foolish love that, like a testy babe, will scratch the nurse, and presently, all humbled, kiss the rod. How churlishly I chid Lucetta hence, when willingly I would have had her here. Oh, how angrily I taught my brow to frown, when inward joy enforced my heart to smile. My penance is to call Lucetta back and ask remission for my folly past. What ho, Lucetta?
What would your ladyship?
Is it near dinner time?
I would it were, that you might kill your stomach on your meat and not upon your maid.
What is it you took up so gingerly?
Nothing.
Why didst thou stoop then?
To take up a paper that I let fall.
And is that paper nothing?
Nothing concerning me.
Then let it lie for those that it concerns.
Madam, it will not lie where it concerns unless it have a false interpreter.
Ah, some love of yours had writ to you in rhyme.
That I might sing it, madam, to a tune, give me a note, your ladyship consent.
As little by such toys as may be possible. Best sing it to the tune of Light of Love.
It is too heavy for so light a tune.
Heavy? Belike it hath some burden then?
Aye, and melodious were it, would you sing it?
And why not you?
I cannot reach so high.
Let's see your song. How now, minion?
Keep tune there still, so you will sing it out. And yet methinks I do not like this tune.
You do not?
No, madam, it is too sharp.
You, minion, are too saucy.
Nay, now you are too flat, and mar the concord with too harsh a descant. There wanteth but a mean to fill your song.
The mean is drowned with your unruly bass.
Indeed, I bid the bass for Proteus.
This babble shall not henceforth trouble me. Here is a coil with protestation. Get you gone, and let the papers lie. You be fingering them to anger me.
She makes it strange, but she would be best pleased to be so angered with another letter.
Nay, would I were so angered with the same. Oh, hateful hands to tear such loving words. Injurious wasps to feed on such sweet honey and kill the bees that yield it with your stings. I'll kiss each several paper for amends. Look, here is writ, kind Julia. Unkind Julia, as in revenge of thy ingratitude, I throw thy name against the bruising stones, trampling contemptuously on thy disdain. And here is writ, love wounded Proteus, poor wounded name. My bosom as a bed shall lodge thee till thy wound be thoroughly healed. And thus I search it with a sovereign kiss. But twice or thrice was Proteus written down. Be calm, good wind, blow not a word away till I found each letter in the letter. Except mine own name, that some whirlwind to bear unto a ragged, fearful hanging rock and throw it thence into the raging sea. Lo, here in one line is his name writ twice writ. Poor forlorn Proteus. Passionate Proteus. To the sweet Julia, that I'll tear away. And yet I will not, since so prettily he couples it to his complaining names. Thus I will fold them one on another. Now kiss, embrace, contend, do what you will.
Dinner is ready, madam, and your father stays.
Oh, well, let us go.
What, shall these papers lie like telltales here?
If you respect them, best to take them up.
Nay, I was taken up for laying them down. Yet here they shall not lie for catching cold.
I see you have a month's mind to them.
Aye, madam, you may say what sights you see. I see things too, although you judge, I think.
Come, come, wilt thou please you go?
Off we go.
Off we go.
Muted. Sorry, I was still muted. I was too into it. Bravo, ladies. That was really lovely. I can't resist giving commentary. I just really got a kick out of the letter. That was awesome. Great. So moving on. I just want to say that everything like 20 times. We are going to move on to the dark world of Macbeth. Act 4, Scene 1. We're going to see some witches. We're going to see some apparitions. In Witch 1 and Apparition 1, we have Liz. In Witch 2 and Apparition 2, we're keeping going with Wendy. It's a Wendy show. I like Wendy show. Witch 3, Apparition 3, we have Christine. As Hecate, we have the beautiful Molly. And as Macbeth, we have the beautiful Mary. We have 5 strong women. I love this. Macbeth asks the witches to reveal the truth of their prophecies to him. To answer his questions, they summon horrible apparitions, each of which offers a prediction to allay Macbeth's fears. Ladies, the stage is all yours.
Thrice the brindled cat hath mewed.
Thrice, and once the hedge pig whined.
Harp your cries, 'tis time, 'tis time.
Round about the cauldron go, in the poisoned entrails throw. Toad that under cold stone days and nights has 31. Sweltered venom sleeping got. Boil thou first to the charmed pot.
Double,
toil
double.
Fire
burn and cauldron bubble.
Fire burn and cauldron bubble.
Fillet of a fenny snake, in the cauldron boil and bake. Eye of newt and toe of frog, wool of bat and tongue of dog. Adder's fork and blind worm's sting, lizard's leg and owlet's wing, for a charm of powerful trouble, like a hell broth boil and bubble. Double,
toil and trouble.
Fire
burn
burn.
Cauldron bubble. Scale of dragon, tooth of wolf, witch's mummy, maw and gulf, of the ravine, salt sea shark, root of hemlock digged in the dark, liver of blaspheming Jew, gall of goat and slips of yew, silvered in the moon's eclipse, nose of Turk and Tartar's lips, finger of birth-strangled babe, ditch delivered by a drab, make the gruel thick and slab, and thereto a tiger's chaldron for the ingredients of our cauldron. Double, toil and trouble, fire burn,
toil and trouble,
cauldron bubble.
Fire burn and cauldron bubble.
Cool it with a baboon's blood, then charm is firm and good.
Oh, well done. I commend your pains, and every one shall share in the gains. And now about the cauldron sing, 5 elves and fairies in a ring, and chanting all that you put in.
By the pricking of my thumbs, something wicked this way comes. Open locks, whoever knocks.
Now, you secret black and midnight hags, what is you do?
A deed without a name.
I conjure you by that which you profess, where you come to know it. Answer me. Though you untie the winds and let them fight against the churches, though the yeasty waves confound and swallow navigation up, though belated corn be lodged, and trees blown down, though castles topple their warders' heads, though palaces and pyramids do slope their heads to their foundations, though treasure of nature's domains tumble altogether, even till destruction sicken, answer me to what I ask you.
Speak.
Demand.
We'll answer.
Say if thou'dst rather hear it from our mouths or from our masters.
Call him, let me see him.
Pour in sow's blood that hath eaten her 9 pharaoh, grease that's sweating from the murderer's gibbet throw, into the flame. Come high or low, thyself in office deathly show.
Tell me, thou unknown power.
He knows thy thought. Hear his speech, but say thou not. Macbeth, 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 beware Macduff. Beware the Thane of Fife. Dismiss me enough.
Whate'er thou art, for thy good caution, thanks. Thou hast harped my fear aright, but one word more.
He will not be commanded. Here's another more potent than the first.
Macbeth! Macbeth! Macbeth!
Had I 3 ears, I'd hear thee.
Be bloody, bold, and resolute. Laugh to scorn the power of man, for none of woman born shall harm Macbeth.
Then live Macduff, what need I fear of thee? But yet I'll need to make assurance double sure, and take a bond of fate, thou shalt not live, that I may tell pale-hearted fear it lies, and sleep in spite of thunder. What is this that rises like the issue of a king, and wears upon his baby brow the round top of sovereignty?
Listen, but speak not to't. Be lion-mettled, proud, and take no care. Who chafes, who frets, or where conspirers are? Macbeth shall never be vanquished, until great Birnam wood to high Dunsinane hill shall come against him.
That will never be. Who can impress the forest, bid the tree unfix his earthbound root? Sleep, Odin's good. Rebellious dead, rise never till the wood of Birnam rise. And our high-placed Macbeth shall live out the lease of nature, pay her breath to time and mortal custom. Yet my heart throbs to know one thing. Tell me, if your art can tell so much, shall Banquo's issue ever reign this kingdom?
Seek to know no more.
I will be satisfied. Deny me this, and an eternal curse fall on you. Let me know, why sinks this cauldron? And what noise is this?
Show.
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 Show
his eyes and grieve his heart.
Come
like shadows, so depart.
Eyes and grieve his heart. Come like shadows, so depart.
Down. Thy crown to sear mine eyeballs, and thy hair, thou other gold-bound brow, is like the first, and the third is like the former. A fourth, start eyes. What, will the line stretch out to the crack of doom? And another, yet a seventh, I'll see no more, and yet the eighth appears who bears a glass and shows me many more, and some I see that twofold balls and treble scepters carry. Horrible sight. Now I see 'tis true, for the blood-boltered Banquo smiles at me and points. I bound for his, what, is it so? I thought there was one more.
I think her video might be super delayed, maybe.
Ah. Is that me? I'm lost. I fell off and then came back on, and I don't know where you're at.
Your last section.
We're at 125.
It's too good. We got to hear your last section.
Aye, sir, all this.
Aye, sir, all this is so. But Why stands Macbeth thus amazedly? Come, sisters, cheer we up his sprites, and show the best of our delights. I'll charm the air to give you a sound, while you perform your antic round, that this great king may kindly say, our duties did his welcome pay.
Nice job, guys. That was so fun. I'm really enjoying tonight. Oh man, you guys bringing the fire this week. Holy cow, I love it. All right. Now we are moving on. Let's make a terrible joke. I am a member of the tribes. I was going to say from girl power to Jew power. So forgive me for that joke. I had to do it. And there we go. I did it. Sorry. We are going on to Merchant of Venice, Act 1, Scene 3. In this scene, we have in the role of Shylock, Kevin, in the role of Bassanio, Howie, and in the role of Antonio, Jess. In the scene, Bassanio, Howie, visits with moneylender Shylock, played by Kevin, to broker a deal on behalf of Antonio, Jess. Antonio, who opposes Shylock's business methods, joins them to finalize the details. Gentlemen and lady, the stage is all yours.
3,000 ducats. Well.
Yes, sir. For 3 months.
For 3 months. Well.
For the which, as I told you, Antonio shall be bound.
Antonio shall become bound. Well.
May you stead me? Will you pleasure me? Shall I know your answer?
3,000 ducats for 3 months and Antonio bound.
Your answer to that?
Antonio is a good man.
Have you heard any imputation to the contrary?
Oh, no. My meaning in saying he is a good man is to have you understand me that he is sufficient, and his means are in supposition. He hath an argosy bound to Tripolis, another to the Indies. I understand, moreover, upon the Rialto, he hath a third at Mexico, a fourth for England, and other ventures he hath squandered abroad. But ships are but boards, sailors but men. There be land rats and water thieves and land thieves, pirates. And then there's the peril of waters, winds, and rocks. The man is, notwithstanding, sufficient. 3,000 ducats, I think I may take his bond.
Be assured you may.
I will be assured I may. And that I may be assured I will bethink me. May I speak with Antonio?
If it please you to dine with us.
Yes, to smell pork, to eat of the habitation which your prophet the Nazarite conjured the devil into. I will buy with you, sell with you, talk with you, walk with you, and so following. But I will not eat with you, drink with you, nor pray with you. What news on the Rialto? Who is he comes here?
This is Signor Antonio.
How like a fawning publican he looks. I hate him, for he is a Christian, but more for that in low simplicity he lends out money gratis and brings down the rate of usance here with us in Venice. If I can catch him once upon the hip, I will feed fat the ancient grudge I bear him. He hates our sacred nation, and he rails, even there where merchants most do congregate, on me, my bargains, and my well-won thrift, which he calls interest. Cursed be my tribe if I forgive him.
Shylock, you hear?
I am debating of my present store, and by the mere guess of my memory, I cannot instantly raise up the gross of full 3,000 ducats. What of that? Tubal, a wealthy Hebrew of my tribe, will furnish me. But soft, how many months do you desire? Rest you fair, good signor. Your worship was the last man in our mouths.
Shylock, although I neither lend nor borrow by taking, nor by giving of excess, Yet, to supply the ripe wants of my friend, I'll break a custom. Is he yet possessed? How much he would?
Aye, 3,000 ducats?
And for 3 months.
I had forgot. 3 months. You told me so. Well then, your bond, and let me see. But hear you, methoughts you said you neither lend nor borrow upon advantage?
I do never use it.
When Jacob grazed his uncle Laban's sheep, this Jacob from our holy Abram was, as his wise mother wrought in his behalf, the third possessor. Aye, he was the third.
And what of him? Did he take interest?
No, not take interest, not as you would say, directly interest. Mark what Jacob did. When Laban and himself were compromised that all the inlings in which were streaked and pied should fall as Jacob's hire, the ewes, being rank in end of autumn, turned to the rams. And when the work of generation was between these woolly breeders in the act, the skillful shepherd peeled me certain wands. And in the doing of the deed of kind, he stuck them up before the fulsome ewes, who then conceiving did in eating time fall party-colored lambs. And those were Jacob's. This was a way to thrive, and he was blessed. And thrift is blessing if men steal it not.
This was a venture, sir, that Jacob served for, a thing not in his power to bring to pass, but swayed and fashioned by the hand of heaven. Was this inserted to make interest good? Or is your gold and silver ewes and rams?
I cannot tell, I make it breed as fast. But note me, Signor.
Mark you this, Bassanio. The devil can cite scripture for his purpose. An evil soul producing holy witness is like a villain with a smiling cheek. A goodly apple rotten at the heart. Oh, what a goodly outside falsehood hath.
3,000 ducats. 'Tis a good round sum. 3 months from 12. Then let me see the rate.
Well, Shylock, shall we be beholding to you?
Signor Antonio, many a time and oft in the Rialto, you have rated me about my monies and my usances. Still have I borne it with a patient shrug, for sufferance is the badge of all our tribe. You call me misbeliever, cutthroat, dog, and spit upon my Jewish gabardine, and all for use of that which is mine own. Well then, it now appears you need my help. Go to then. You come to me and you say, Shylock, we would have monies. You say so. You that did void your room upon my beard, and foot me as you spurn a stranger cur over your threshold. Monies is your suit. What should I say to you? Should I not say, hath a dog money? Is it possible a cur can lend 3,000 ducats? Or shall I bend low and in a bondman's key with bated breath and whispering humbleness say this, fair sir, you spat on me on Wednesday last. You spurned me such a day. Another time you called me dog. And for these courtesies I'll lend you thus much monies.
I am as like to call thee so again, to spit on thee again, to spurn thee too. If thou wilt lend this money, lend it not as to thy friends. For when did friendship take a breed for bear and metal of his friend? But lend it rather to thine enemy, who, if he break, thou mayst with better face exact the penalty.
Why, look you how you storm. I would be friends with you and have your love. Forget the shames that you stained me with. Supply your present wants, and take no note of usance for my monies. And you'll not hear me. This is kind I offer.
This were kindness.
This kindness will I show. Go with me to a notary. Seal me there your single bond, and in a merry sport, if you repay me not, on such a day, in such a place, such sum or sums as are expressed in the condition, let the forfeit be nominated for an equal pound of your fair flesh to be cut off and taken in what part of your body pleaseth me.
Content, if faith. I'll seal to such a bond, and say there is much kindness in the Jew.
You not seals to such a bond for me. I'd rather dwell in my necessity.
Why, fear not, ma'am. I will not forfeit it within these 2 months. That's a month before this bond expires. I do expect return of thrice 3 times the value of this bond.
Oh, Father Abram, what these Christians are, whose own hard dealings teaches them suspect the thoughts of others. Pray you, tell me this. If he should break his day, what should I gain by the exaction of the forfeiture? A pound of man's flesh taken from a man is not so estimable, profitable neither, as flesh of muttons, beeves, or goats. I say, to buy his favor, I extend this friendship. If you will take it, so. If not, adieu. And for my love, I pray you wrong me not.
Yes, Shylock, I will seal into this bond.
Then meet me forthwith at the notary's. Give him direction for this merry bond, and I will go and purse the ducats straight. See to my house, left in the fearful guard of an unthrifty knave, and presently I'll be with you.
Hie thee, gentle Jew. The Hebrew will turn Christian. He grows kind.
I like not fair terms in a villain's mind.
Come on. In this there can be no dismay. My ships come home a month before the day.
Bravo, guys. That was lovely. I really do love that play. It's such a, I mean, they all are so complex, but every time I hear a scene or I read a piece of it, I feel like I feel something different from that play. You know what I mean? Anyway, that was lovely. I really enjoyed it. Thank you. We are moving on to a little bit of passion. We've got Antony and Cleopatra, Act 1, Scene 3. In this scene, in the role of Antony, we have Joe. As Cleopatra, we have Rebecca. And as Charmian, we have Mary. Antony, in the scene, breaks the news of Fulvia's death and his immediate departure to a contrary yet ultimately compliant Cleopatra. All right, without further ado, the stage is yours.
Where is he?
I did not see him since.
See where he is, who's with him, what he does. I did not send you. If you find him sad, say I am dancing. If in mirth, report that I am sudden sick. Quick, and return.
Madam, methinks if you did love him dearly, you do not hold the method to enforce the like from him.
What should I do? I do not.
In each thing give him way. Cross him in nothing.
Thou teachest like a fool the way to lose him.
Tempt him not so too far. I wish, forbear, in time, we hate that which we often fear. But here comes Antony.
I am sick and sullen.
I am sorry to give breathing to my purpose.
Help me away, dear Charmian. I shall fall. Oh, it cannot be thus long. The sides of nature will not sustain it.
Now, my dearest queen.
Pray, you stand further from me.
What's the matter?
I know by that same eye there's some good news. What says the married woman? You may go, would she had never given you leave to come. Let her not say 'tis I that keep you here. I have no power upon you. Hers you are.
The gods best know.
Oh, never was there queen so mightily betrayed. Yet at the first I saw the treasons planted.
Cleopatra.
Why should I think you can be mine and true, though you in swearing shake the throned gods who have been false to Fulvia? Riotous madness to be entangled with those mouth-made vows which break themselves in swearing.
Most sweet queen.
Oh, nay, pray you, seek no color for your going, but bid farewell and go. When you sued staying, then was the time for words. No going then. Eternity was in our lips and eyes, bliss in our brows bent, none our parts so poor, but was a race of heaven. They are so still, or thou, the greatest soldier of the world, art turned the greatest liar.
How now, lady?
I would I had thy inches. Thou shouldst know there were a heart in Egypt.
Hear me, queen. The strong necessity of time commands our services a while, but my full heart remains in use with you. Our Italy shines o'er with civil swords. Sextus Pompeius makes his approaches to the port of Rome. Equality of two domestic powers breeds scrupulous faction. The hated, grown to strength, are newly grown to love. The condemned poppy, rich in his father's honor, creeps apace into the hearts of such as have not thrived upon the present state, whose numbers threaten, and quietness, grown sick of rest, would purge by any desperate change. My more particular, and that which most with you should safe my going, is Fulvia's death.
Thou age from folly could not give me freedom. It does from childishness. Can Fulvia die?
She's dead, my queen. Look here, and at thy sovereign leisure read the garboil she awakened. At the last best, see when where she died.
Oh, most false love! Where be the sacred vials thou shouldst fill with sorrowful water? Oh, now I see. In Fulvia's death how mine received shall be.
Quarrel no more, but be prepared to know the purposes I bear, which are, or cease, as you shall give the advice. By the fire that quickens Nihilus' slime, I go from hence, thy soldier, servant, making peace or war as thou affectest.
Cut my lace, Charmian, come. But let it be, I am quickly ill and well. So Antony loves.
My precious queen, forbear, and give true evidence to his love, which stands an honorable trial.
So Fulvia told me. I prithee turn aside and weep for her. Then bid adieu to me and say the tears belong to Egypt. Good now, play one scene of excellent dissembling, and let it look like perfect honor.
You'll heat my blood, no more.
You can do better yet, but this is meetly.
Now, by my sword.
And target. Still he mends, but this is not the best. Look, prithee, Charmian, how this Herculean Roman does become the carriage of his chafe.
I leave you, lady.
Courteous lord, one word. Sir, you and I must part. Oh, but that's not it. Sir, you and I have loved, but there's not it, that you know well. Something it is I would. My oblivion is a very Antony, and I am all forgotten.
But that your royalty holds idleness your subject, I should take you for idleness itself.
'Tis sweating labor to bear such idleness so near the heart as Cleopatra this. But sir, forgive me, since my becomings kill me when they do not eye well to you. Your honor calls you hence, therefore be deaf to my unpitied folly, and all the gods go with you. Upon your sword sit laurel victory, and smooth success be strewed before your feet.
Let us go. Come. Our separation so abides and flies, that thou, residing here, goest yet with me, and I, hence fleeting, here remain with thee. Away.
Oh, guys. I want to see all these shows. I just want to see it all. Just don't stop. Just keep reading the whole play to me, please. But now for more deliciousness. We are moving on to Richard III. Full disclosure, these two actually know each other.
Yeah, sorry.
They're quarantined together. They may or may not be married to each other.
But we didn't really rehearse, so we're right there with you.
So in this scene, we have as the beautiful Lady Anne, the beautiful Callie Barrett Gibson, and is the, I don't know what word I should use. I don't want to judge him, Richard. We have the, I don't know what word to use. I don't want to judge him. I'm just kidding. The wonderful Carl Gibson. The stage is yours.
Stay, you that bear the chorus, and set it down.
What black magician conjures up this fiend to stop devoted charitable deeds?
Then set down the chorus, or by St. Paul, I'll make a chorus of him that disobeys.
What? Do you tremble? Are you all afeard? Alas, I blame you not, for you are mortal. Mortal eyes cannot endure the devil. Vaunt, thou dreadful minister of hell. Thou hast but power over his mortal body, his soul thou shalt not have, therefore be gone.
Sweet saints, for charity be not so cursed.
Foul demon, for God's sake, hence! Trouble us not, for thou hast made the happy earth thy hell. Peopled it with cursing cries and deep exclaims. If thou delightst to view thy heinous deeds, behold this pattern of thy butchery. O gentlemen, see! See, dead Henry's wounds open their congealed mouths and bleed afresh. Lush, lush, thou lump of foul deformity, for 'tis thy presence exudes this blood from cold and empty veins where no blood dwells. Thy deeds, inhuman and unnatural, provokes this deluge most unnatural. God, which this blood makes, revenges death. Earth which this blood drinks, revenges death. Either heaven with lightning bolt strike the murderer dead, or earth gape open wide and eat him quick as thou dost swallow up this good king's blood, whom his hell-governed arm hath butchered.
Lady, you know no rules of charity, which renders good for bad, blessings for curses.
Villain, thou knowest no law of God nor man. No peace so fierce, but knows some touch of pity.
But I know none, and therefore am no beast.
Wonderful when devils tell the truth.
More wonderful when angels are so angry. Vouchsafe divine perfection, woman, of supposed evils to give me leave by circumstance, but
Vouchsafe diffuse infection of a man. For these known evils, but give me leave by circumstance to curse thy cursed self.
fairer than tongue can name thee. We have some patient leisure to excuse myself.
Foul than tongue can name thee. Let me have some. No, thou canst make no excuse current, but to hang thyself.
By such despair I should accuse myself.
And by despairing shouldst thou stand excused for doing worthy vengeance on thyself, which did unworthy slaughter upon others.
Say that I slew them not.
Why, then they are not dead. But dead they are, a devilish slave by thee.
I did not kill your husband.
Why, then he is alive.
Nay, he is dead, slain by Edward's hand.
In a foul throat thou liest. Queen Margaret saw thy murderous falchion smoking in his blood, which thou didst bend against her breast, but that thy brothers be beside the point.
Was provoked by her slanderous tongue, which laid their guilt on my guiltless shoulders.
Thou wast provoked by bloody mind, which never dreamt on aught but butcheries. Did thou not kill this king?
I grant you.
Huh, dost grant me, hedgehog? Then God grant me too, thou mayst be damned for that wicked deed. Oh, he was gentle, mild, and virtuous.
The fitter for the King of Heaven that happened.
He is in heaven, for thou shalt never come.
Let him thank me that hoped to send him thither, for he was fitter for that place than earth.
Thou unfit for any place but hell.
Yes, one place else. You will hear me name.
Some dungeon.
Bedchamber.
Ill betide the chamber where thou liest.
So will it, madam, till I lie with you?
I hope so.
I know so. Gentle Lady Anne, leave this keen encounter of our wits, and fall somewhat into a slower method. Is not the causer of the tyrant's death of these Plantagenets, in Edward, as blameful as the execution.
Who art cause, and most accursed effect?
Your beauty was the cause. Your beauty, which did haunt me in my sleep to undertake the death of all the world, so I might live 1 hour. Sweet bosom.
I thought that. I tell thee, homicide, these nails should rend that beauty from my cheeks.
These eyes could never endure sweet beauty's wreck. You should not blemish it if I stood by. As all the world is cheered by the sun, so I by that. It is my day, my life.
Black night o'ershade thy day, and death thy life.
Curse not thyself, fair creature thou art but.
Why would I were to be revenged on thee?
It is a quarrel most unnatural, to be revenged on him that loved you.
It is a quarrel just and reasonable to be revenged on him that slew my husband.
He that bereft thee, lady, of thy husband did it to help thee to a better husband.
This better doth not breathe upon this earth.
He lives that loves thee better than he could.
Name him.
Plantagenet.
Why, that was he.
The self-same name, but one of better nature.
Where is he?
Here. Why dost thou spit at me?
Would it were mortal poison for thy sake.
Never came poison from so sweet.
Never hung poison on a fouler toad. What of my sight? Thou dost infect mine eyes.
Thine eyes, sweet lady, have infected mine.
Would they were basilisks for your sake.
Would they were. I might die. Now they kill me with a living death. Those eyes of thine from mine have drawn salt tears, shamed their aspect with store of childish drops. These eyes that never shed remorseful tear. No, when my father York and Edward wept to hear the piteous moan that Rutland made when black-faced Clifford shook his sword at him, nor when thy warlike father, child, told the sad story of my father's death 20 times, and they paused to sob and weep, that all the standers-by had wet their cheeks like trees that dashed with rain. In that sad time my manly eyes did scorn and humble tear. What these sorrows could not then say. Thy beauty made mine. I never sued to friend nor enemy. My tongue could never learn sweet smoothing word. Now thy beauty is proposed my fee. My proud heart sues, and prompts my tongue to speak. Teach not thy lips scorn, for they were made for kissing, lady, not for such contempt. If thy revengeful heart cannot forgive, here ends thee with sharp points. If thou please to hide in this true bosom, so forth Dorothy, I lay it naked, and humbly beg the death upon my. Nay, do not pause, for I did kill King Henry. It was thy beauty that provoked me. Nay, now dispatch. Was I that was thy heavenly face. Take up the sword again, or take up me.
Arise, dissembler. Though I wish thy death, I will not be thy executioner.
And bid me kill myself, and I will.
I have already.
Tush, that was in thy rage. Speak it again. And even with the word, that hand, for thy love, kill thy love, shall for thy love, kill far true. Both their deaths thou shalt be accessory.
Would I knew thy heart.
'Tis figured in my tongue.
Hear me, both are false.
That never man was true.
Well, put up your sword.
Say then, my peace is made.
That shall you know hereafter.
But shall I live in hope?
All men, I hope, live so.
Vouchsafe to wear this ring.
It is not to give.
Look how this ring encompasseth finger. Even so thy breast encloseth my poor heart. Both of them are thine. And if thy poor devoted suppliant may but beg one favor at thy gracious, thou dost confirm his happiness.
What is it?
That it would please thee leave these sad designs to him that hath more cause to be a mourner, and presently repair to Crosby Place, where after I have solemnly interred at Church Monastery this noble king, and wet his grave with my repentant tears, I will with all expedient duty see you. For divers unknown reasons, I beseech you, grant me this.
With all my heart, and much it joys me too, to see you are become so penitent. Trestle, Berkeley, go along with me.
Bid me farewell.
It's more than you deserve. Since you teach me how to flatter you, imagine I have said farewell already.
Sirs, take up the chorus. Is ever woman in this humor won? I'll have her, but I will not keep her.
Thank you.
Bravo. Fun fact, in my opinion, Kelly Barrett Gibson was the finest Lady Macbeth I have ever seen in a full production. Maybe someday we can convince you when you're.
And you are wonderful to say that. I really, really appreciate it.
Oh, it's true. Both that couple is a powerhouse of love of Shakespeare, and Kelly has spent a long time sharing her wisdom and her insight, and I'm honored to have you guys here. All right, so we're moving on. That was lovely. I love that scene. We are gonna, all right, let's do a little more wooing. How about a little more romance on a Saturday night? What do you think, guys? We're gonna do Romeo and Juliet, Act 2, Scene 2. And I did ask for a write-up, but as Molly very smartly said, I mean, the best description is it's a balcony scene. But since you put the thought and effort into actually writing something, maybe someone out there, this is the first time you're seeing a piece of Romeo and Juliet. I encourage you to watch it and read it, the rest of it as well. But this scene, Romeo and Juliet have just met at the Capulet's party, and he now waits outside her window as she reflects on the man she has just met. All right, gang, take it away.
You dress as scars that never felt a wound, but soft, or light through yonder window breaks. That is the east, and Juliet is the sun. Arise, fair sun, and kill the envious moon, who is already sick and pale with grief, that thou, her maid, are far more fair than she. Be not her maid, since she's envious. Her vestal livery is but sick and bring a number of fools to wear it. Cast it off. It is my lady. Oh, it is my love. Oh, that she knew she were. She speaks, yet she says nothing. What of that? Her eye discourses. I will answer it. I am too bold. It's not to me she speaks. To the fairest stars in all the heaven, having some business to entreat her eyes to twinkle in their spheres till their return. What if her eyes were there, and laying her head, the brightness of her cheek will shame those stars as daylight doth a lamp. Her eyes in heaven will through the airy region stream so bright that birds will sing and think of her all night. See how she leans her cheek upon thy hand. Oh, would I that I were a glove upon thy hand, that I might touch thy cheek.
Ay me.
She speaks. Oh, speak again, bright angel. For thou art as glorious to this night, dear o' my head, as is a winged messenger of heaven. Unto the white upturned wondering eyes of mortals that fall back to gaze on him, when he bestrides the lazy pacing clouds and sails upon the bosom of the air.
O Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo? Deny thy father and refuse thy name, or if thou wilt not, be but sworn my love, and I'll no longer be a Capulet.
Shall I hear more, or shall I speak of this?
'Tis but thy name that is my enemy. Thou art thyself, though not a Montague. What's Montague? It is nor hand, nor foot, nor arm, nor face, nor any other part belonging to a man. Will be some other name. What's in a name? That which we call a rose by any other name would smell as sweet. So Romeo would, were he not Romeo called, retain that dear perfection which he owes without that title. Romeo, doff thy name, and for that name which is no part of thee, take all myself.
I take thee at thy word. Call me but love. Now be new baptized. Henceforth I never will be Romeo.
What man art thou that thus bescreened in night so stumblest on my counsel?
By a name I know not how to tell thee who I am. My name, dear saint, is hateful to myself, because it is an enemy to thee. Had I it written, I would tear the word.
My ears have not yet drunk 100 words of that tongue's utterance, yet I know the sound. Art thou not Romeo, and a Montague?
Neither, fair saint, if either thee dislike.
How camest thou hither? Tell me, and wherefore? The orchard walls are high and hard to climb, and the place death, considering who thou art, if any of my kinsmen find thee here.
With love's light wings did I overpush these walls. The stony limits cannot hold love out. And what love can do that dares love attempt? Therefore thy kinsmen are no lead to me.
If they do see thee, they will murder thee.
Alack, there lies more peril in thy eye than 20 of their swords. Look thou but sweet, and I'm proof against their enmity.
I would not for the world they saw thee here.
I have night's cloak to hide me from their sight. And but thou love me, let them find me here. My life were better ended by their hate than theirs prolonged wanting thy love.
By whose direction foundst thou out this place?
By love, who first did prompt me to inquire, yet let me counsel and lend him eyes. I am no pilot, yet wert thou as far as the vast shore that washed with the farthest sea, I would have ventured for such merchandise.
Thou knowest the mask of night is on my face, else would a maiden blush bepaint my cheek for that which thou hast heard me speak tonight. Fain would I dwell on form, fain deny what I have spoke, but farewell, compliment. Dost thou love me? I know thou wilt say aye, and I will take thy word. Yet if thou swearest, thou mayest prove false. At lovers' perjuries, they say, Jove laughs. O gentle Romeo, if thou dost love, pronounce it faithfully. Or if thou think'st I am too quickly won, I'll frown and be perverse and say thee nay, so thou wilt woo. But else not for the world. In truth, fair Montague, I am too fond, and therefore thou mayest think my behavior light, but trust me, gentlemen, I'll prove more true than those that have more cunning to be strange. I should have been more strange, I must confess, but that thou overheardst ere I was ware my true love's passion. Therefore pardon me. and not impute this yielding to light love which the dark night hath so discovered.
Lady, by yonder blessed moon, I swear, that taped with silver all these fruit tree cups,
Swear not by the moon, the inconstant moon, that monthly changes in her circled orb, lest that thy love prove likewise variable.
What shall I swear by?
Do not swear at all. Or if thou wilt, swear by thy gracious self, which is the God of my idolatry, and I'll believe thee.
If my heart's dear love,
Well,
with
do
all
not swear. Although I joy in thee, I have no joy of this contract tonight. It is too rash, too unadvised, too sudden, too like the lightning, which doth cease to be ere one can say, it lightens. Sweet good night. This bud of love by summer's ripening breath may prove a beauteous flower when next we meet. Good night, good night, as sweet repose and rest come to thy heart as that within my breast.
Oh, wilt thou leave me so unsatisfied?
What satisfaction canst thou have tonight?
The exchange of thy love's faithful vow for mine.
I gave thee mine before thou didst request it, and yet I would it were to give again.
Wouldst thou withdraw it? For what purpose, my love?
But to be frank, and give it thee again, yet I wish but for the thing I have. My bounty is as boundless as the sea, my love as deep. The more I give to thee, the more I have, for both are infinite. I hear some noise within. Dear love, adieu. Anon, good nurse. Sweet Montague, be true. Stay but a little, I will come again.
Oh, blessed, blessed night. I am but afeard. Being in night, all this is but a dream. Too flattering sweet to be substantial.
3 words, dear Romeo, and good night indeed. If that thy bent of love be honorable, thy purpose marriage, send me word tomorrow, by one that I'll procure to come to thee, where and what time thou wilt perform the rite. And all my fortunes at thy foot I'll lay, and follow thee, my lord, throughout the world.
Madam!
I come anon. But if thou mean'st not well, I do beseech thee.
Madam!
By and by I come, to cease thy suit and leave me to my grief. Tomorrow will I send.
So thrive my soul!
1,000 times good night.
1,000 times the words to one that light. Love goes toward love, as schoolboys from their books. But love from love, towards school with heavy looks.
Hist. Romeo, hist. Oh, for a falconer's voice to lure this tassel gentle back again. Bondage is hoarse and may not speak aloud, else would I tear the cave where echo lies, and make her airy tongue more hoarse than mine with repetition of my Romeo's name.
It is my soul that calls upon my name. How silver sweet sounds lover's tongue by night, like softest music to attending ears.
Romeo!
My dear.
At what o'clock tomorrow shall I send to thee?
At the hour of 9.
I will not fail. 'Tis 20 years till then. I have forgot why I did call thee back.
Let me stand here till thou remember it.
I shall forget to have thee still stand there, remembering how I love thy company.
And I will stay to have thee still forgetting any other home but this.
'Tis almost morning. I would have thee gone, and yet no further than a wanton's bird, who lets it hop a little from her hand, like a poor prisoner in his twisted gyves, and with a silk thread plucks it back again, so loving jealous of his liberty.
I were thy bird.
Sweet, so would I, yet I should kill thee with much cherishing. Good night, good night. Parting is such sweet sorrow that I shall say good night till it be morrow.
Sleep dwell upon thy eyes, peace in thy breast. Would I were sleep but peace, so sweet to rest. Hence I will to my ghostly father's cell, his hope to crave, and my dear rap to tell.
Bravo, guys. This is just a wonderful night. I especially like that you two can play anything. Like you do like strong, you could do angry, you can do romance so well that I'm in love with both of you. It was so romantic. Oh, that was really lovely. Thank you. Well, for those of you who haven't seen this play, for those of you who have, we're going to fast forward, so spoiler alert. We are moving on to Romeo and Juliet, Act 4, Scene 1. In this scene, in the role of Juliet, we have Patricia. In the role of Friar Lawrence, we have Roger. And in the role of Paris, we have Christine. In this scene, Paris and Friar Lawrence are discussing Paris and Juliet's upcoming wedding when Juliet enters to speak to Friar Lawrence about what to do about Romeo's banishment. So, a bit of soap opera going on. The stage is yours, actors.
On Thursday, sir. The time is very short.
My father Capulet will have it so. I am nothing slow to slack his haste.
You say you do not know the lady's mind, and even as the course I like it not.
Immoderately she weeps for Tybalt's death, and therefore have I little talked of love, for Venus smiles not in a house of tears. Now, sir, her father counts it dangerous that she doth give her sorrow so much sway, and in his wisdom hastes our marriage, to stop the inundation of her tears, which, too much minded by herself alone, may be put from her by society. Now, do you know the reason of this haste?
I would I knew not why it should be slowed. Look, sir, here comes the lady toward my cell.
Happily met, my lady and my wife.
That may be, sir, when I may be a wife.
That must be, love, on Thursday next.
What must be shall be.
That's
a certain text.
Come you to make confession to this father?
To answer that, I should confess to you.
Do not deny to him that you love me.
I will confess to you that I love him.
So will ye, I am sure, that you love me.
If I do so, it will be of more price, being spoke behind your back than to your face.
Poor soul, thy face is much abused with tears.
The tears have got small victory by that, for it was bad enough before their spite.
Thou wrong'st it more than tears with that report.
That is no slander, sir, which is a truth. And what I spake it to my face.
Thy face is mine, and thou hast slandered it.
It may be so, for it not mine own. Are you at leisure, Holy Father, now, or shall I come to you at evening mass?
My leisure serves me, pensive daughter, now. My lord, we must entreat the time alone.
God shield I should disturb devotion. Juliet, on Thursday early will I rouse ye. Till then adieu, and keep this holy kiss.
Oh, shut the door, and when thou hast done so, come weep with me, past hope, past cure, past help.
Oh, Juliet, I already know thy grief. It strains me past the compass of my wits. I hear thou must, and nothing may prorogue it, on Thursday next be married to this county.
Tell me not, friar, that thou hearest of this, unless thou tell me how I may prevent it, if in thy wisdom thou canst give no help. But thou but call my resolution wise, and with this knife thou help it presently. God, join my heart and Romeo's thou our hands, and ere this hand by thee to Romeo's sealed shall be the label to another deed, or my true heart with treacherous revolt turn to another, this shall slay them both. Therefore, out thy long experienced time, give me some present counsel, or behold, Twixt my extremes of me, this bloody knife shall play the umpire, arbitrating that which the commission of thy years and art could to no issue of true honor bring. Be not so long to speak, I long to die. If what thou speakest, speak not of remedy.
Hold, daughter, I do spy a kind of hope which craves as desperate an execution as that is desperate which we could prevent. If rather than marry County Paris, thou hast the strength of will to slay thyself, then it is likely thou wilt undertake a thing like death to chide away this shame. Thou copest with death himself to scape from it. And if thou darest, I'll give thee a remedy.
Oh, bid me leap rather than marry Paris from off the battlements of yonder tower, or walk in thievish ways, or bid me lurk where serpents are, chain me with roaring bears, or shut me nightly in a charnel house, or cover quite with dead men's rattling bones, with reeky shanks and yellow chapless skulls, or bid me go into a new-made grave, and hide me with a dead man in his tomb, things that, to hear them told, have made me tremble. And I will do it without fear or doubt, to live an unstained wife to my sweet love.
Hold then. Go home, be merry, give consent to marry Paris. Wednesday is tomorrow. Tomorrow night, look that thou lie alone, let not the nurse lie with thee in thy chamber. Take thou this vial, being then in bed, and this distilling liquor drink thou off, when presently through all thy veins shall run a cold and drowsy humor, for no pulse shall keep his native progress, but surcease. No warmth, no breath shall testify thou livest. The roses in thy lips and cheeks shall fade to wanny ashes. Thy eyes' windows fall, like death when he shuts up the day of life. Each part deprived of supple government shall stiff and stark and cold appear like death. And in this borrowed likeness of shrunk death, thou shalt continue 42 hours, and then awake as from a pleasant sleep. Now, when the bridegroom in the morning comes to rouse thee from thy bed, there art thou, dead. Then, as the manner of our country is, in thy best robes, uncovered on the bier, thou shalt be borne to that same ancient vault where all the kindred of the Capulets lie. In the meantime, 'gainst thou shalt awake, shall Romeo by my letters know our drift. And hither shall he come, and he and I will watch thy waking, and that very night shall Romeo bear thee hence to Mantua. And this shall free thee from this present shame, if no unconstant toy nor womanish fear abate thy valor in the acting of it.
Give me, oh, tell not me of fear.
Hold, get you gone. Be strong and prosperous in this resolve. I'll send a friar with speed to Mantua, with letters to thy lord.
Love, give me strength, and strength shall I help afford. Farewell, dear father.
Bravo, guys. Can you hear me okay? Okay.
Yes.
Good. Sorry, I switched my speaker. But oh no, Friar, you're well intentioned, but don't do it. Don't do it. What a lovely friar. I would trust him too. That was lovely. I just want to see the full version of all these plays. I swear. It feels like everything's gonna go well. Oh, I hope I didn't give it away for anybody, but it's not a good plan. Let me just say that. That was lovely, guys. Thank you so much for your work. I really enjoyed that. All right, we are moving on. Now, let me tell you something. I don't know this play. It is one that I need to sit down and read. So I'm really looking forward to seeing this scene. This is part of why we wanted to do this, so we all can get familiar with more scenes and learn more plays. We're moving on to King John. And in this we have as King John, Chris, and as Hubert, Rena. Let's see what this is about, since I don't know. John, having found that his having ordered the assassination of Prince Arthur has engendered tremendous opposition among the nobles and general public, berates his henchman Hubert for having willingly gone along with the plot. Scandalous. I look forward to hearing this. Actors, the stage is yours.
My lord, they say 5 moons were seen tonight, for fixed and the 5th did whirl about, the other 4 in wondrous motion.
5 moons?
Old men, beldams in the streets, do prophecy upon it dangerously. Young Arthur's death is common in their mouths, and when they talk of him, they shake their heads and whisper one another in the ear. And he that speaks doth grip the hearer's wrist, whilst he that hears make fearful action with wrinkled brows, with nods, with rolling eyes. I saw a smith stand with his hammer thus, the whilst his iron did the anvil cool, with open mouth swallowing a tailor's news, who with shears and measure in his hand, standing on slippers, which his nimble haste had falsely thrust upon contrary feet, told of many thousand warlike French that were embattled and ranked in Kent. Another lean, unwashed artificer cuts his tale and talks of Arthur's death.
Why seek'st thou to possess me with these fears? Why urgest thou so oft young Arthur's death? Thy hand hath murdered him. I had a mighty cause to wish him dead, but thou hadst none to kill him.
No, had my lord. Why, did you not provoke me?
It is the curse of kings to be attended by slaves that take their humors for a warrant to break within the bloody house of life, and on the winking of authority to understand a law, to know the meaning of dangerous majesty, when perchance it frowns more upon humor than advises respect.
Here is your hand and seal for what I did.
Oh, when the last accompt 'twixt heaven and earth is to be made, then shall this hand and seal witness against us to damnation. How oft the sight of means to do ill deeds makes deeds ill done. Hadst not thou been by, a fellow by the hand of nature marked, quoted and signed to do a deed of shame, this murder had not come into my mind. But taking note of thy abhorred aspect, finding thee fit for bloody villainy, apt, liable to be employed in danger, I faintly broke with thee of Arthur's death. And thou, to be endeared to a king, made it no conscience to destroy a prince.
My lord!
Hadst thou but shook thy head, or made a pause when I spake darkly what I purposed, or turned an eye of doubt upon my face, as bid tell my tale in express words, deep shame had struck me dumb, made me break off, and those thy fears that have wrought fears in me. But thou didst understand me by my signs, and didst in signs again parley with sin. Yea, without stop didst let thy heart consent, and consequently thy rude hand to act the deed which both our tongues held vile to name. Out of my sight, and never see me more. My nobles leave me, my state is braved, even at my gates with ranks of foreign powers. Nay, in the body of this fleshly land, this kingdom, this confine of blood and breath, hostility and civil tumult reigns between my conscience and my cousin's death.
Arm you against your other enemies. I'll make a peace between your soul and you. Young Arthur is alive.
This hand of mine is yet a maiden, and an innocent hand, not painted with the crimson spots of blood. Within this bosom never entered yet the dreadful motion of a murderous thought, and you have slandered nature in my form, which, howsoever rude exteriorly, is yet the cover of a fairer mind than to be butcher of an innocent child.
Doth Arthur live? Oh, haste thee to the peers. Throw this report on their insensate rage. Make them tame to their obedience. Forgive the comment that my passion made upon thy feature, for my rage was blind, and foul imaginary eyes of blood presented thee more hideous than thou art. Oh, answer not, but to my closet bring the angry lords with all expedient haste. I conjure thee but slowly, run more fast!
Thank you, actors. That was very interesting and very timely. I feel like I need to sit and read that play. Nice choice. All right, so our last scene for the evening. We got a lot of people. We got a group. We are doing, and then we have monologues after that, so don't leave. Much Ado About Nothing. In the scene, we have Don Pedro is played by Joe. Beatrice is played by Rebecca. Benedict is played by Molly. Leonardo is played by Vera. Claudio is played by Jeremy. Is anybody else in the scene tonight? All right, good. I didn't, I've seen the play a couple times. I just wasn't sure how much we were doing of this wonderful scene. All right, so in the scene, Don Pedro and Beatrice are celebrating a wedding announcement and then confiding in each other. Actors, the stage is yours.
Look, here she comes.
Will your grace command me any service to the world's end? I will go on the slightest errand now to the Antipodes that you can devise to send me on. I will fetch you a toothpicker now from the furthest inch of Asia, bring you the length of Prester John's foot, fetch you a hair off the great Cham's beard. Do you have any embassage to the pygmies rather than hold 3 words conference with this harpy? You have no employment for me?
None but to desire your good company.
Oh, God, here's a dish I love not. I cannot endure my lady tongue.
Come, lady, come. You have lost the heart of Signor Benedict.
Indeed, my lord. He lent it me a while, and I gave him use for it, a double heart for his single one. Marry, once before he won it of me with false dice. Therefore your grace may well say I have lost it.
You have put him down, lady. You have put him down.
So I would not he should do me, my lord, lest I should prove the mother of fools. I have brought you Count Claudio, whom you sent me to seek.
Why, how now, Count? Wherefore are you sad?
Not sad, my lord.
How then? Sick?
Neither, my lord.
The Count is neither sad, nor sick, nor merry, nor well, but civil, Count, civil as an orange, and something of that jealous complexion.
If faith, lady, I think your blazon be true. Though I'll be sworn, if he be so, his conceit is false. Here, Claudio, I have wooed in thy name, and fair hero is won. I have broke with her father, and his goodwill obtained. Name the day of marriage, and God give you joy.
Count, take of me my daughter, and with her my fortunes. The grace hath made the match, and all grace. Say amen to it.
Speak, Count, 'tis your cue.
Silence is the perfectest herald of joy. I were but little happy if I could say how much. Lady, as you are mine, I am yours. I give myself to you, and I dote upon the exchange.
Speak, cousin, speak, or if you cannot, stop his mouth with a kiss, and let him not speak neither.
If faith, lady, you have a merry heart.
Yea, my lord, I thank it. Poor fool, it keeps on the windy side of care. My cousin tells him in his ear that he is in her heart.
And so she doth, cousin.
Good Lord, for alliance! Thus goes everyone to the world but I, and I am sunburned. I may sit in a corner and cry hi-ho for a husband.
Lady Beatrice, I will get you one.
I would rather have one of your father's getting. Hath your grace ne'er a brother like you? Your father got excellent husbands if a maid could come by them.
Will you have me, lady?
Oh, no, my lord, unless I might have another for working days. Your grace is too costly to wear every day. Oh, but I beseech your grace, pardon me. I was born to speak all mirth and no matter.
Your silence most offends me, and to be merry best becomes you, for, out of question, you were born in a merry hour.
No, sure, my lord, my mother cried. But then there was a star danced, and under that was I born. Cousins, God give you joy.
Niece, will you look to those things I told you of?
I cry you mercy, uncle, by your grace's pardon.
By my troth, a pleasant-spirited lady.
Bravo. That was lovely. You know, some of the actors put comments on the side as we're watching, cheering each other on, and I love watching people like, oh, I would like to do that scene. I'd like to do that role. You know, calling each other out on things. And I had to say, Jeremy, why were you looking at the script there, buddy?
Hey man, it's been a while. I was nominated for an award for this, man. It's good to revisit.
You're right. You're right. It was good to see you back in the role. You were all lovely and wonderful. And again, you know, though I was like, hey, it's stopping. Or come on, we need to keep the scene going. That is the end of our scenes for the evening. That was great fun. Now we are moving on to our monologues. I'm not going to be giving you intros to the monologues. I'm going to merely tell you the actor, and I'm going to tell you the character and the play it comes from, and then they're going to let it rip. So without further ado, we're going to start with Joe. Right back into Joe. This is from Henry IV, Part 2, and this is Falstaff. Joe?
I would you had but the wit. 'Twere better than your dukedom. Good faith. This same young sober-blooded boy doth not love me, nor a man cannot make him laugh. Well, that's no marvel. He drinks no wine. There's never none of these demure boys come to any proof. A thin drink doth so overcool their blood, and making many fish meals, that they fall into a kind of male green sickness. And then when they marry, they get wenches. They're generally fools and cowards, which some of us should be too, but for inflammation. A good sherry sack hath a twofold operation in it. It ascends me into the brain, dries me there, all the foolish and dull and curdy vapors which environ it, makes it apprehensive, quick, forgative, full of nimble, fiery, and delectable shapes, which delivered o'er the voice, the tongue, which is the birth, becomes excellent wit. The second property of your excellent sherries is the warming of the blood, which before cold and settled left the liver white and pale, which is the badge of pusillanimity and cowardice, but the sherries warms it, and makes it coarse from the inwards to the parts extreme, illuminateth the face, which as a beacon gives warning to all the rest of this little kingdom, man to arm. And then the vital commoners and inland petty spirits muster me all to their captain, the heart, who, great and puffed up with this retinue, doth any deed of courage. And this valor comes of sherries. So that skill in the weapon is nothing without sack. For that sets it at work, and learning a mere hoard of gold kept by a devil till sack commencing, and sets it in act and use. Hereof comes it, that Prince Harry is valiant. For the cold blood he did naturally inherit of his father, he hath, like lean, sterile, and bare land, manured, husbanded, and tilled with excellent endeavor of drinking good and good store of fertile cherries, that he is become very hot and valiant. If I had 1,000 sons, the first humane principle I would teach them should be to forswear thin potations and to addict themselves to sack.
Bravo. Since I'm not familiar with where the monologues end, there's more of a longer pause as I watch you come out of your characters. Oh, that was fun. All stuff is great, isn't he? And kind of messed up. So am I as a human being, so that works out well. All right, we're moving on to John. We're going to stick with the histories. We've got Henry IV, Part 1, Act 2, Scene 2. Correct, John?
Yep.
Well, it's Henry IV.
Yep, and it's a very short one.
All right, the stage is yours, sir.
I am accursed to rob in that thief's company. The rascal hath removed my horse and tied him I know not where. If I travel by 4 foot by the square, further afoot I shall break my wind. Well, I doubt not but to die a fair death for all of this, if I escape hanging for killing that rogue. I have forsworn his company hourly any time this 22 years, and yet I am bewitched with the rogue's company. If the rascal hath not given me medicine to make me love him, I'll be hanged. It could not be else. I have drunk medicine. Poins, Hal, plague upon you both. Bardolph, Pato, I'll starve ere I'll rob a foot further. And 'twere not as good as deed as drink to turn true man and to lead these rogues. I am the veriest varlet that ever chewed with a tooth. 8 yards of uneven ground is 70 miles afoot with me, and the stony-hearted villains know it enough. A plague upon it when thieves cannot be true one to another. That's the end.
Thank you. That I actually knew because that's my favorite play. And that was just delightful. Thank you. I feel like it's my birthday getting to watch all this, I swear to you. All right. Remember that play Romeo and Juliet that we did some scenes from? Now we're going to have a delightful monologue from it. Howie is going to give us Mercutio, Act 1, Scene 4 of Romeo and Juliet. Howie, the stage is yours, sir.
Okay. Oh, then, I see Queen Math hath been with you. She is the fairy's midwife, and she comes in shape no bigger than an agate stone on the forefinger of an alderman, drawn with a team of little atomies athwart men's noses as they lie asleep. Her wagon spokes made of long spinner's legs, the cover of wings of grasshoppers, the traces of the smallest spider's web, the collars of the moonshine's watery beams, her whip of cricket's bones, the lash of film, her wagoner a small gray-coated gnat, not so big as a round little worm pricked from the lazy finger of a maid. Her chariot is an empty hazelnut, made by the joiner's squirrel or old grub, time out o' mine for the Paris coachmakers. And in this state she gallops night by night through lovers' brains, and then they dream of love. Or courtiers' needs that dream on courtesies straight, or lawyers' fingers who dream straight on fees, or ladies' lips who straight on kisses dreams, which oft the angry map blisters plagues, because their breaths with sweetmeats tainted are. Sometimes she gallops over a courtier's nose, and then she dreams he of smelling out a suit. And sometimes comes she with a tithe pig's tail, tickling a parson's nose, as a lies asleep. Then dreams he of another benefice. Sometimes she driveth over a soldier's neck, and then he dreams he of cutting foreign throats, of breeches, ambuscados, Spanish blades, of helps 5 fathoms deep, and then anon drums in his ear, at which he starts and wakes, and thus being frightened swears a prayer or two, and sleeps again. This is that very Mab that plats the manes of horses in the night, and bakes the etlocks and foul sluttish hairs, which once untangled, which much morton bodes. This is the hag when maids lie on their back, that presses them and learns them first to bear, making them women of good carriage.
Nice job. There's nothing like live Zoom theater. That bell couldn't have been timed better, I think. That was awesome. Great work, Howie. Thank you for that. So, again, this upstart Shakespeare and this unknown play, Romeo and Juliet, seems to be popular this evening. So we are going to hear from the nurse in Romeo and Juliet, a wonderful role. And this monologue will be performed by Wendy. Wendy, the stage is all yours.
Even or odd, of all days in the year, come Lammas Eve at night shall she be 14. Susan and she, God rest all Christian souls, were of an age. Well, Susan is with God. She was too good for me. But as I said, on Lammas Eve at night shall she be 14. That shall she, Mary. I remember it well. 'Tis since the earthquake now 11 years. And she was weaned. I shall never forget it. Of all the days of the year upon that day, for I had then laid wormwood to my Doug, sitting in the sun under the dove-house wall. My lord and you were then at Mantua. Nay, I do bear a brain. But as I said, when it did taste the wormwood on the nipple of my Doug and felt it bitter, pretty fool to see it tetchy and fall out with the Doug. Shake, quoth the dove-house. 'Twas no need, I trow, to bid me trudge. And since that time, it is 11 years. For then she could stand alone. Nay, by the rood, she could have run and waddled all about. For even the day before, she broke her brow. And then my husband, God be with his soul, was a merry man, took up the child. Yea, quoth he, dost thou fall upon thy face? Thou wilt fall backward, and when thou hast more wit, wilt thou not, Jewel? And by my holiday, the pretty wretch left crying and said, I, to see now how a jest shall come about. I warrant, and I should live 1,000 years, I never should forget it. Wilt thou not, Jewel, quoth he, and pretty fool, it stinted and said, I.
It was lovely. The nurses, that was just lovely work, Wendy. Thank you very much. We are moving on to As You Like It. Did we have a scene from As You Like It today? No, we didn't. Our first As You Like It for the evening. How delightful. Kelly will be doing Rosalind for us. Kelly, the stage is yours.
And why, I pray you? Who might be your mother that you exalt, insult, and all at once over the wretched? What though you have no beauty, as by my faith I see no more in you than without candle may go dark to bed? Must you be therefore proud and pitiless? Why, what means this? Why do you look at me? I see no more in you than the ordinary of nature's sail work. That's my little life. I think she means to tangle my eyes too. No, proud mistress, look not after it. 'Tis not thy inky brow, thy black silk hair, thy bugle eyeballs, or thy cheek of cream can tangle my eyes to your worship. You foolish shepherd, wherefore do you follow her like foggy south, puffing with wind and rain. You are 1,000 times more proper a man than she a woman. 'Tis fools like you who make the world full of ill-favored children. 'Tis not her glass, but you that flatters her. And in your eye, she sees herself more proper than any of her lineaments can show her. As for you, mistress, down on your knees and thank heaven fasting for a good man's love. For I must tell you, friendly in your ear, sell when you can. You are not for all markets. Cry the man mercy, love him, accept his offer. Foul is most foul, being foul to be a scoffer. So take her to thee, shepherd. Fare you well.
Bravo! I love the prop.
I am a boy.
That's what I thought. I got that. Well done. We're going back to Romeo and Juliet for a minute. We're gonna give Brooklyn, right? Brooklyn, Kelly? Are you in Brooklyn?
What? Oh, Queens.
Queens. We're gonna go Queens scene change while we go back upstate to Mali, and we're going to come back to the world of Romeo and Juliet. And we love Mercutio. We're gonna hear Queen Mab again, but this time from a different voice and a different face and a different point of view. Madam, the stage is yours.
Oh, then I see Queen Mab hath been with you. She is the fairy's midwife, and she comes in shape no bigger than an agate stone on the forefinger of an alderman, drawn with a team of little atomy athwart men's noses as they lie asleep. Her wagon spokes, made of long spinner's legs, the cover of the wings of grasshoppers, the traces of the smallest spider's web, the collars of the moonshine's watery beams, her whip of cricket's bone, the lash of film. Her wagoner, a small gray-coated gnat, not so big as a round little worm pricked from the lazy finger of a maid. Her chariot is an empty hazelnut, made by the joiner squirrel or old grub, time out of mind, the fairy's coachmakers. And in this state she gallops, night by night, through lovers' brains, and then they dream of love. Or courtiers' knees, who dream on curtsy straight, or lawyers' fingers, who straight dream on fees, or ladies' lips, who straight on kisses dream, which oft the angry Mab with blisters plagues, because their breaths with sweetmeats tainted are. Sometimes she gallops o'er a courtier's nose, then dreams he of smelling out a suit. Sometimes she comes with a tithe pig's tail, tickling a parson's nose as a lies asleep, then dreams he of another benefice. Sometimes she driveth o'er a soldier's neck, then dreams he of cutting foreign throats of breeches, emboscados, Spanish blades of healths 5 fathom deep, and then anon drums in his ear, at which he starts and wakes, and being thus frighted swears a prayer or two and sleeps again. This is that very Mab that plats the manes of horses in the night, and bakes the elf locks in foul, sluttish hairs, which once untangled much misfortune bodes. This is the hag, when maids lie on their backs, that presses them and learns them first to bear, making them women of good carriage. This is she.
Yes, Queen. Molly, you played that role, correct?
Yes, I did.
Isn't that funny? She didn't look at the script, Jeremy.
Yeah.
So funny. That was lovely. I really enjoyed that. I hope that the center streams that one because I really want to see it.
A good one, Vera, was Tybalt.
Oh my gosh. It was so good.
I hope they do. Maybe I bet they will. Fingers
You can all
crossed.
see me die.
It was such a good show. Oh my gosh, Molly and Vera were rock stars.
I bet they were. Well, they are rock stars.
But they were then too, just saying.
Right.
Pam, the next time I see you looking at a script, I'm going all out.
If it's something I've done. I'm just kidding. We're happy to have you in your wonderful, even looking at the script. Your beautiful little ray of sunset. All right, we're moving on back to Queens. We are going to have our first Love's Labor's Lost of the evening, thanks to Carl. Carl, the stage is yours, sir.
There's more than need. Have at you then, affections, men-at-arms. Consider what you first did swear unto. To fast, study, and to see no woman. That treason against the kingly state of you. Say, can you fast? Your stomachs are too young, and abstinence engenders maladies. Why, universal clotting poisons up the nimble spirits of the arteries, as motion along during action tires the sinewy vigor of the traveler. Now, for not looking at a woman's face, you have forsworn the use of eyes. Study too, cause of your vow. For where is any author in the world teaches such beauty as a woman's eye? Oh, we have made the vow to study, lords, and in that vow we have forsworn our books. When would you, my liege, or you, in leaden contemplation, have found out such fiery numbers as the prompting eyes of beauty's tutors have enriched you with? Other slow arts entirely keep the brain, and therefore, finding barren practicers, scarce show a harvest for their heavy love. First learned in a lady's eyes, lives not alone immured in the brain, but with the motion of all elements, courses swiftest thought into every power, and gives to every power a double power above their functions and their offices. That's a precious scene to the eye. A lover's eye will gaze an eagle blind. A lover's ear will hear the lowest sound. Suspicious head of theft is stopped. Love's feelings, more soft and sensible than are the tender horns of snails. Love's tongue proves dainty Bacchus gross in taste. For valor, is not love a Hercules still climbing trees in the Hesperides? Subtlest Sphinx. Sweet and musical as bright Apollo's lute strung with his hair. Then love speaks. The voice of all the gods makes heaven drowsy with the harmony. Never durst poet touch his pen to write until his ink be tempered with love's. Then his lines would ravish savage ears and plant in tyrants mild humility. In women's eyes, this doctrine I do. They sparkle still, the right Promethean fire. They are the books, the arts, the academes that show, contain, and nourish all the world, else none at all, and aught proves excellent. Then, fools, you were, these women to forswear. Or, keeping what is sworn, you will prove fools. For wisdom's sake, a word that all men love. For love's sake, a word that loves all men. Or for men's sake, the authors of these women, or women's sake by whom we men are men. Let us once lose our oaths, find ourselves, or else we lose ourselves to keep our oaths. It is religion to be thus forsworn, for charity itself fulfills the law, and who can sever love from charity?
Yay, that was lovely, Carl. Thank you.
Thank you.
I like a lot of the love that's going on tonight. We need a little love in our lives. Awesome. We are moving on to King John again. Chris is going to give us the bastard speech. And I think Chris is telling me that I need to read this play by his choices this evening. Chris offered to give just a little intro to this monologue prior to him doing it. So Chris, I'm going to give you the floor.
Okay, great, thanks. So this speech comes shortly after the piece that Rena and I played. Prince Arthur actually has died accidentally, not at the hand of Hubert, and Hubert has just had to convince the nobles that he didn't do it. They're not really persuaded. Philip the Bastard is the lead knight defending England against the French, and is as courageous as King John is cowardly. And so the bastard's trying to figure out what to do. Go, bear him in thine arms. I'm amazed, methinks, and lose my way amongst the thorns and dangers of this world. How easy dost thou take all England up? From forth this morsel of dead royalty, the life, the right, and truth of all this realm is fled to heaven. And England now is left to tug and gamble and part by the teeth the unowed interest of proud swelling state. Now for the bare picked bone of majesty doth dogged war bristle his angry crest and snarleth in the gentle eyes of peace. Now powers from home, discontents at home, meet in one line, and vast confusion waits, as doth a raven on a sick fallen beast, the imminent decay of rested pomp. Oh, now happy he who cloak and cincture can hold out this tempest. Bear away that child, and follow me with speed. Out to the king. 1,000 businesses are brief in hand, and heaven itself doth frown upon the land.
Bravo, Chris. Thank you. I promise I'll try to read that play and then pick your brain more about it soon. All right, we're moving on. We're ending a little serious this fine evening. We've got 2 more monologues for you. We are moving to Fiji, to Steve, and he's going to give us some Richard. Steve, the stage is yours, sir.
Now is the winter of our discontent. May glorious summer by the sun of York. And now the clouds are lowered upon our house, in the deep bosom of the ocean buried. Now our brows bound with victorious wreath, our bruised arms hung up for monuments, our stern alarms changed to merry meetings, our dreadful marches to delightful measures. Grim-visaged war has smoothed his wrinkled front, and now, instead of mounting barbed steeds to fright the souls of fearful adversaries, he capers nimbly in a lady's chamber to the lascivious pleasings of a lute. But I, that am not shaped for sportive tricks, nor made to court an amorous looking glass, I that am rudely stamped, wanting love's majesty to strut before a wanton humbling nymph. I that am curtailed of this fair proportion, cheated of feature by dissembling nature, deformed, unfinished, sent before my time into this breathing world, scarce half made up, and that's so lamely and unfashionable that dogs bark at me as I hop by them. Why? I, in this weak piping time of peace, have no delight to pass with the time, unless to spy my shadow in the sun and descant on my own deformity. Why I can smile, and murder while I smile, cry content which the things that grieves my heart. Why my cheeks with artificial tears, and frame my face to all occasions? Can I do this, and can't I get a crown? And therefore, since I cannot prove a lover to entertain these fair well-spoken days. I am determined to prove a villain and hate the idle pleasures of these days. Plots have I laid, inductions dangerous, by drunken prophecies, libels and dreams, to set my brother Clarence and the king in deadly hate, the one against the other. And if King Edward be as true and just as I am subtle, false and treacherous, this day shall Clarence closely be mute up about a prophecy which says that G of Edward's heirs, the murderer shall be. Dive thoughts down to my soul. Here Clarence comes. Good day, brother. What means these armed guards waiting upon your grace?
Bravo, Steve. Thank you very much. All right. Our last monologue for the evening is Kevin. We're going back to another power-hungry person. And he is doing Macbeth. Kevin, the stage is yours, sir.
Is this a dagger which I see before me? The handle toward my hand? Come, let me clutch thee. I have thee not, and yet I see thee still. Art thou not fatal vision, sensible to feeling as to sight? Or art thou but a dagger of the mind? A fatal creation, proceeding from thy heat oppressed brain. I see thee yet. In form as palpable as this which now I draw. Thou marshalst me the way I was going, and such an instrument I was to use. Mine eyes are made the fools of the other senses, or else worth all the rest. I see thee still, and on thy blade and dudgeon gouts of blood, which was not so before. There's no such thing. It is the bloody business which informs thus to mine eyes. Now o'er the one-half world nature seems dead, and wicked dreams abuse the curtained sleep. Witchcraft celebrates pale Hecate's offerings, and withered murder, alarmed by his sentinel, the wolf, whose howls his watch. Thus, with his stealthy pace, with Tarquin's ravishing strides, towards his design moves, like a ghost. Thou sure and firm-set earth, hear not my steps, which way they walk, for fear thy very stones prate of my whereabouts, and take the present horror from the time which now suits with it. Whiles I threat, he lives. Words to the heat of deeds too cold breath gives. I go, and it is done. The bell invites me. Hear it not, Duncan, for it is a knell that summons thee to heaven or to hell.
Kevin, that was really lovely. I don't know if lovely is the right word, but it was enchanting, and I was rooting for you. Just messed up. All right, that is our evening. I am the MC that gives you all of my internal monologue. We're going to introduce our wonderful actors, and they will be taking their bows. Let's start with our wonderful Kevin.
Thank you very much.
And our wonderful Christine.
Thank you.
Our wonderful John.
Thanks, everybody. Donate to the theater if you can.
Yes, thank you.
There, it's down there.
Donate button below us. If you even have a few dollars, and I say few or 100 or 1,000, whatever you have. Many of us consider the Rhinebeck Center for Performing Arts our home theater, and we are hoping to keep it strong and healthy so that when this quarantine is over, we can go back to making work there. That is our home. So please, if you have a few dollars, it's really easy to click that donate button. Please do. Thanks, John. You're on me today. I appreciate it. Jeremy.
Yo, what's up?
And the wonderful Vera.
Thank you.
Rena. She's on mute, but she's beautiful and she's waving. Oh, she's demuting.
Sorry. Thanks for watching.
Joe.
Hey, thank you for watching, everybody.
Molly.
Thanks for watching, guys. Give us your money, right? Pointing down.
Yes.
Just pointing at my lap. All right, cool.
Give Molly's lap your money. She'll give it to the theater, she promises. Wendy.
Thank you. Please give to the Center for Performing Arts. Donate button. Click now.
Howie.
Thank you, thank you. I had a blast.
Sam. Oh, he's on silent. Christine has to demute him. Say it again, Sam.
Oh, it was a pleasure joining up with you all. Hope to see you all again.
Us too. Chris.
Thank you very much. It was a lot of fun.
Patricia.
Thank you guys so much. Don't forget to donate. Seriously, donate. We need our home.
Mary.
Thanks, everyone. It was really fun.
Carl.
Thank you, thank you.
Kelly.
Thank you, everybody. It was a lot of fun.
Michelle.
Michelle.
Sorry. Thank you, everyone. This was a lot of fun. Thank you so much.
Rebecca.
Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful night.
Roger.
Hi, everyone. Thanks again. I'm with John and Patricia. Please donate to the theater.
Liz.
Good night, everyone. Thanks for tuning in.
Steve.
Thank you very much.
We lost Jess, but I'm sure she would say thank you too. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Have a good night. Okay.